Anywhere you go, anywhere you go, give it all. Welcome or welcome back. If you haven't been here, my name is Allie, otherwise known as Unicorn Allie. If you feel so inclined, please take a look around my channel, and if you like what you see, please subscribe, comment, like, all the normal stuff that people ask you to do. Help the algorithm help me. If you can't tell by my fabulous t-shirt or the title of this video, we're going to be talking a bit about my identity, more specifically about my sexual orientation and my gender identity. And I wanted to do my sexual orientation and my gender identity in the same video because for me, and I think a lot of people, those two identities really intersect a lot throughout my life, and my exploration of those two identities throughout my life has really gone hand in hand. One quick disclaimer, these are my thoughts and my opinions on my identity and no one else's. I'm definitely not trying to speak for anyone else. Let's start with the concept of coming out and my feelings about that in general. Essentially, I've always hated the idea that we needed to come out because that implied that the norm was that you were heterosexual and cisgender unless you said otherwise, and I've always hated that assumption. So I think as a little bit of a rebellion against that norm, I never really had the plan or desire to have any sort of big coming out. It was more like little trickles throughout my life, and kind of just whenever the moment came up, or once I got more comfortable with certain aspects of myself, I started to share those with people. People I felt comfortable with, people I wanted to, family, friends, etc. But even then, there are probably some things in this video that I haven't specifically said to people in real life, and that's not really because I didn't trust them with the information necessarily, but it's just that I never wanted to make a really big deal out of it. However, I've done some self-reflection lately, and for two main reasons, I've decided to be a lot more out and loud about these two aspects of my identity. And the main reason is I know that as someone on the internet, and also as someone who has worked with children in the past and will probably work with children again in the future, I know that I have some sort of influence on the information that I put out into the world. I want to be very clear that I am a safe space for anyone in the queer community. I am a part of the community myself. I just want that to be clear that I am queer. And the second reason is I'm just tired of the assumptions. Honestly, I'm 31 years old, and at this point I just am tired of people assuming certain things about my gender or about my sexual orientation based on the way that I look and the way that they perceive how I present myself. So I thought, best way to get rid of the assumptions is to just get it all out there exactly as I want it. So here we are. From a young age, I would say that I had the idea that I wasn't straight. I didn't necessarily have the vocabulary for it when I was quite young, but I did notice that I didn't just have crushes on boys, I had crushes on girls too. So that was kind of the, oh, you are not straight. And then as I got a little bit older, I started to learn the words for that, and I was very lucky in that I had a very accepting, open-minded group of friends and family in my close circle that supported me through that exploration in high school and in university. I know that a lot of people don't have that, and I'm very grateful for it, especially because the wider community was not as accepting. So I would say a couple of years into university, I was pretty confident in saying that I was bisexual. That felt right. I knew that I was attracted to women as well as men, and that just felt really good, and I was good with that for a while. But I did sort of run in the theater circle. So I think that and studying abroad in Amsterdam for a semester opened my eyes to a lot more aspects of the LGBTQ community. I think slowly bisexual didn't really seem to fit anymore because I realized that for me, and I want to say, I know a lot of people who identify as bisexual, for them that means that they are attracted to multiple genders. However, for me, the term just didn't feel right, and I can't really pinpoint exactly why. Maybe it had a little bit to do with my gender identity, which I'll get into in a minute, but I realized, actually pansexual is something that fits a lot better for me, and that was how I identified for quite a while. Because the way I saw it for myself was that it was very open, and it encompassed the fact that I was attracted to people for physical, mental, emotional reasons, regardless of what their body looked like, regardless of what their gender was, what their sexuality was, etc. For me, it felt a lot broader. That's why I stuck with that one for a long time. And then I don't know if it's just I hate labels in general, but eventually pansexual didn't really fit anymore either, and I really became attached to the idea of reclaiming some of the negative words that had been used against the community at some point. Also, I'm really into a very ambiguous descriptor for myself that just fits for me. And so as it stands now, I would say that my sexual orientation is queer. That might change, I don't know. I'm constantly evolving, but for now that feels right for me. On to gender. I would say that I never quite felt like I fit the stereotype of what a girl should be. I didn't really know the words for that either, but I knew that while there were some key aspects of being a girl and of femininity that I fit into, there were just little pieces that didn't quite fit for me, and I just didn't quite click into that identity fully. I think it really took me until I moved to Amsterdam in 2014 that I really started to explore what that meant. Now, I had thoughts in the past when I was younger, such as, am I comfortable in the body that I'm in? Would I rather have a penis? Would I rather get rid of my boobs? All of the parts that helped them assign me as female at birth, do I want to keep those or would I want to change them? And I never really landed on a set answer. I always kind of fell somewhere in the middle with that, and I've been pretty comfortable there. I don't mind being in the middle. I was able to explore that a bit more when I was living in Amsterdam because the Dutch tend to be a lot more open-minded about queer culture in general. So I felt a little bit more comfortable exploring that there. And I had the absolute privilege of working as a nanny for several children who didn't really fit the gender binary either. The general idea of the gender binary is that, female is somewhere over here and male is somewhere over here, and then non-binary would be somewhere in the middle. But I think, and I know a lot of other people agree, that there are also a lot of identities that fall kind of all around and don't fit anywhere in that as well. And also, there is a big difference between your gender identity and your gender expression, and I didn't really get that when I was younger, and that's something that I'm still exploring the difference between for myself and really what that means as far as how I show my gender identity to the world. There are a lot of terms that maybe you're not familiar with, and I popped some of them in the description below. So please educate yourself if you don't know what I'm talking about. I will try as hard as I can to make this channel a place for learning as well, but you do have to do some of the work. It really just clicked for me, and I was like, okay, I'm non-binary. And that has been how I identify for a while, until that sort of evolved a little bit into, well, actually, it's more like one day I'll wake up and feel very feminine, and the next day I wake up and feel very masculine. The next day I wake up and feel somewhere in the middle. The next day I wake up and feel like I have no idea what's happening. And some days I really enjoy being in the body that I'm in, and other days I don't. and it really honestly just depends. It's very fluid, and so that's when I discovered the term gender fluid. And I think honestly I'm going back and forth between the two, and so I would say right now that I am non-binary / gender fluid. And because of that, my pronouns are they and she. I will happily accept either one of those at the moment. I'll keep you updated if that's going to change, but that's where we stand now, and I'm very happy and proud to be in a place where I can be comfortable with those identities and share them for anyone else who is in the community, and for anyone else who is exploring their identities. I want you to know that you are not alone. We are all on different parts of the journey, and no matter where you are in that journey, it's okay. You're okay, you're loved, and you're worthy wherever you are on that path. Me, and my channel, we are a safe space. And I hope that I can interact with some of you and hear your own stories and why you have or haven't come out and what that's meant for you. Thank you so much for giving me the space to share this all with you. It is making me feel a little bit vulnerable, and to be honest, I've tried to record this video several times and it never all quite fit. So, third time's a charm. And if you enjoy content from a queer, gender fluid, non-binary, mixed race, intersectional feminist who has strongly mixed feelings about labels in general, click on the little unicorn in the corner, or my face at the end of this video. Thank you. See you all later.